Aha, we are live. It was faster than I thought it would be. This is live from the Deep Web Podcast, episode number 7. And I have with me the wonderful Adama. How are you doing? And how
I'm
is life
doing
treating you?
well. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I mean it's a complete pleasure. I have the first time I've ever had a model and musician on
Uh-huh.
this podcast before. So this is a treat for me. This is a new thing.
There you
Usually,
go.
usually it's just a single threat from everyone. It's just musician, period, and that's it. So you're a double threat unless you can dance or act, then you're a triple threat. So
I can manage. Let's say that.
I feel okay. So let's go ahead and start off with what first of all what is it how did you become a model? How did that happen for you?
Well, that happened when I was about 16 and I was living in Senegal. So basically that's where I started really my first catwalk. I've been spotted on the street, and this designer asked me if I wanted to just be part of his show, and that's how we started really. And then when I moved to Italy after high school, again I got scouted in Milan while I was strolling down the street with a friend. And yeah, everything really started from Senegal and then just escalated to getting signed with an agency in Italy and then moving from there. Yeah.
How cool is that? So you get spotted on the street, and
Hmm.
then after that you get to go to Milan after high school.
Well, I was about to go anyway because my mom is from Italy,
Mhm.
obviously, from that area. So after high school, I moved to Italy anyway to, carry on with my studies. Yeah.
That's so cool though. Still, that's it.
Mm.
That is a storied life. That's a bit of a charmed life, a bit of it. So do you live a charmed life, or is that just one of the only fortunicities that happen to you, or is that something kind of that happens a lot in your life?
Uh, yeah, well, I must confess it does. What do you mean does it happen often? What, for me to travel around the globe?
No, I just meant that it sounds, at least from the in the context of your how your modeling career started, it seems semi charmed.
No, yeah, I guess I've been quite fortunate, I mean, I know it happened to, other models. You just been scouted on the street. But yeah, I guess, I mean, I've been fortunate that day because I was just with a friend, walking around the streets, nothing else.
That's so cool, though. That is so cool. That is a very
Mm.
I don't know. The word escapes me, so I won't try to find it.
Mm. Well,
It's
the funny thing is also I've always been interested into fashion, but I was very, very shy as a teenager. So I never actually thought to just become a model, to be honest with you, because I was actually scared, basically, about all humans trying to approach me. So,
okay. I
that's
understand.
how introverted I was. So, yeah, again, that's why I think, yeah, I got fortunate. But at the same time, it helped me also just to, extrovert myself a little more, you know,
Yeah,
because
I
you do
would.
meet lots of people and you do travel a lot and all that. So,
Yeah, I would say that it would be. I guess it could lend to that as well, because you really have a persona at that point, and you don't have to be who you are exactly inside when
exactly.
you're doing that.
Hmm.
And yeah, I've actually always been fascinated with fashion modeling. I've always been fascinated by it, that world, and not so much the stereotypical world, but just the actual industry and the actual world. It's always fascinated me. Always fascinated me. I've always appreciated it, and I've always been the guy in the room that would argue with people that that would complain about models and things like that. I would always be like, well, it's actually a job. you
It
know,
is a job, actually, it is actually a job, and you do, work hard at it. And I mean, it's not all lovely dovely, as you can imagine.
right?
It's also an industry where you get lots of weird people. And so I guess you need to find your own balance, really. And yeah.
So
hmm
the whole time, were you a musician, or did you come about that later in your life?
mm, Obviously, I had interest into music. Because yeah, I always had interest into music, but at that time I was just writing some poems, but I wasn't really sure if I wanted to sing or whatever, because I mean, I grew up, my dad was running some jazz club in Senegal,
Mhm.
with two mates of his. So I mean, music has always been in the house, so lots of jazz. My mom on her side, though, she was more into like pop rock, uh, you know. Um, so no, it's always been there. My uncle also was playing with Santana in the States. So yeah, I mean, I always had musicians around me. But weird enough, again, I think I was so shy and introvert, even with my family, that I was enjoying the music, but I never actually, I don't think I was comfortable to tell people, look, you know what, I think I have a voice, and I really, and I, and I do write some poems which I want to turn into music. That happened quite late when I was, how old was I? Yeah, I think I was around 18.
Okay.
That's when I just went back to Senegal, and I just grabbed my uncle and my dad. I said, look, I've got these three poems and I want to actually turn into a demo, a music, an EP, something. And that's my uncle booked the studio. We got in with some old school jazz Senegalese musician, awesome ones. And then, yeah, we just recorded, my first EP, which was a 4 tracks, yeah, EP, kind of world music slash whatever, so. Mm,
Senegal. I actually studied some guitar music from Senegal for a
mhm.
while because it's very difficult. it's it's
It's
a
very
lot of
difficult.
there's a lot of this African flavor of guitar music from various places. So it's very wide, a
Yeah.
wide body of styles and techniques, and they all seem to have kind of a on the at least in the left hand. This is coming as a guitarist, but on the left hand was always very had kind of qualities to it that were very similar, and I really wanted to have that in my repertoire, and I wanted to know how to do that because I can't stand hearing something that I can't do on guitar. So, and I went on kind of a big mission to research that, and yeah, it was so hard, so hard. It's a timing thing. It's really is, and it's something you have to kind of get in your bones first before you can even try it.
I
And
think so, with lots of practice, I guess, and just to maybe surround yourself with, those type of musicians.
it's
Yeah.
exactly what I did, and it's exactly what I did. I also studied a lot of Nigerian pop music on guitar.
Mhm.
I, I actually have. I guess you could say I'm what you would call an I don't know what the word would be an Africophile. Like, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, why not?
I don't know what the word. I don't know what. I don't even think there is a word for it. But I've actually always been captivated by African culture, and I know it's a continent, and so when I'm referring to it, I'm referring to it as all of the geographical regions of Africa
Sure.
and its cultures, and it's captivated me since I don't know, probably about 13. I was 13 at around that point when I actually saw. Which is funny, but it came from the Latina world actually that I even knew what African culture was like, West African culture first,
hmm
and through Santeria, funny enough. And and when I learned that this was essentially at heart of it was an African religion, it was a West African, an ancient West African religion. It captivated me from the Ifa religion from the Yorubans, and for after that, like it was just on. I studied North Africa, West Africa, East Africa, South Africa, or everywhere. I just couldn't get enough of it and learn how
Yeah.
to make so much food and music and everything. It fascinated me. Um, and specifically from Senegal, the guitar music just captivates me to this day, actually. So it's very
Mm.
fascinating. And you had jazz players with you at that time, which is even cooler. Um, I've so you a jazz lover, or is that something in you, or
Now I am. No, I'm saying now I am, which is very odd. Well, the thing is, back when I was just, a kid around, I don't know, 5, 6, until 10 years old, I think it was the music that was playing in the house, which is lots of Miles Davis, Armstrong, and all these people. I think I was just too young to absorb and understand all that music.
oh
So
yeah,
for me to hear it in the house, going to school, in the car, it was getting just too much. So I started actually to hate jazz.
no, I can completely understand that. I can.
So
Um,
I was more keen into, my mom's stuff, which is, I don't know, Tina Turner and Hike, or the Rolling Stones, or David Bowie. I was more into that because for me it was more melodic and also with the vocals on it. So, and then eventually, yeah, when I turned to maybe 20, something like that, I started to get back into jazz actually. Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
very similar. Uh, I can completely empathize with that. My mom was deeply into Blondie and David Bowie, and growing up, she was really into that stuff. And I one part of me was always there. One part of my heart musically was always with that stuff, and
Mhm.
always will. And the other side, my brother was my brother, who was a guitarist at the time, who was a brooding musician. He was more
Yeah.
of a serious brooding nature, and so that was the other side of me musically growing up too. But I keep true to that. Talking about guitar players, though, Ike Turner, my God, he was an amazing guitarist too, with a lot of techniques that are kind of overlooked now for
Mhm.
obvious reasons. But but his contribution though musically, past his storied past, I guess you could say, um, it was just it's so huge, and it's such a shame that there's not a lot of it told in the musicology, I guess you could say, of
True.
guitar. So yeah, um, you cut an EP and then you moved on from there. I'm sure you did a million things. But
I did a million things, yeah.
when did you get serious about music then?
When did I get serious about music? That's a good question. When did I get serious? Oh, I guess I started to get serious when I moved to when I moved to LA. When I
Ah,
moved to LA from where was I? I was in Paris back then. So I moved to LA with another model agency from Paris. That didn't last long though, because things didn't work out the way I wanted in Los Angeles with my model agency. But then over there, because I've got a few friends who live there, all musicians and blues producers, I've got this friend who kind of pushed me to record few lyrics that I had hanging there around, and I guess it just started. I started really to understand, you know, what I wanted musically wise, first of all, and also to also understand if I wanted to move from my music from just a hobby thing to another level, going more professional. So anyway, from there we recorded again new tracks, there's lots of demos, and then yeah, we developed those songs. Then I had to move back to Paris, obviously. And I just,
you poor
kept
thing.
on going in Paris. I put a band together, and then we just mixed the tracks, and yeah, we just took it from there. Really, I mean, everything started. It started from LA, and then everything became more concrete in a way in Paris.
I
Yeah.
envy anyone that gets to live in Paris. And at the other end of the spectrum, every time I say that to someone who's French, they always are like, Paris is shit. Every time they're just, yeah, Paris is shit. It's nothing but mainstream bullshit. It is not what you think it is. And and I can't let that destroy my fantasy like of Paris. I know that it's it's a real place and subject to real places, but I envy anyone that that gets to live in Paris. I've always wanted to live in Paris. It's not I've always wanted to visit Paris. I've always wanted to live in Paris. Always wanted
Yeah.
to be in walking distance to some place to eat.
It's a beautiful city. I mean, I won't say the same thing about, the Parisian mentality, because it's quite, hardcore to handle. But the city by itself is actually, beautiful, and I do miss it sometimes. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, a lot actually. I did work a lot on my music in Paris. Yeah, especially with an old friend of mine actually, who's an amazing producer. Um, in a year time since I moved back, I mean, we recorded around 50 demos, and from there I started to get some interest from labels, from EMI Paris and another independent label. But I think I had a few meetings with them, and to be honest with you, the idea of me as an artist and them, what they wanted to do with me, wasn't really working out. There was a there was some clashes here and there. So, but I had, the opportunity to be represented by two labels in Paris. But you know how it is with the big major labels. Uh,
I do, and it's a runaround. It's a huge runaround. I was in a band in about I don't know ages ago. Let's put it that way, and we had got to tour a little bit, and we got the attention of a couple of labels, and that's what I'll say from there.
mm,
And it was a complete runaround, and
yeah.
it shattered the entire fantasy I had of the whole process, the whole
Mm.
discovered process and everything. I was like,
Exactly.
oh crap, they give you a loan, you got to pay it back. I don't know about that. It turns into something like that. So you were working currently with Ransford, a good friend of mine and musical colleague. Um, how how is that working out for you right now? Are you about to put out an album, or is it going to be another EP, or what?
Well, I put out there like an EP about 2 months ago. Yeah, that was an EP that I've been working on for a few years now, and eventually, a friend of mine from Paris put me in touch with a producer here in London before I met actually Roy, and who helped me, to mix and master this EP. Then I was struggling to put it out there because, again, you can easily put your music out there, but then you've got the promotion and how you want to promote your stuff, and do you have the finances for it? We all go through that, especially independent artists and musicians. Um, and that's when actually Roy came in because I was a bit stuck. And then I thought, okay, just put it on hold for now. Just go live, try to showcase these songs, and probably you'll find, I don't know, other people that will guide you along the way to, and that's, yeah, when Roy came in, because I put some ads on the website. I think it's Bandmix or whatever. I was looking for some musician, and we came across, and I felt a bit like I was a bit down, to be honest with you. I was a bit depressed because I couldn't find a musician. I didn't know what to do with this previous EP, and and uh, and yeah, and Roy, I think, was looking for an artist, out there, or some new music. I don't know what he was looking for. But anyway, we started to chat, and he said, "Look, I'm not a musician. I'm not a guitar player or bass player. What you looking for? But anyway, I've got some music that I want you to listen to." And I was like, "Well, you know what? I'm trying to find also, to collaborate with other producers. I'm quite new in London, so." Yeah, let's see what we can do together. And he sent me an instrumental. I wrote something on it. I sent it back to him, but we were not sure. And then he told me, "Well, what are you doing at the moment?" And I said, "Well, I'm trying to release this EP, but at the same time, I wrote lots of songs, and I would like to, collaborate with a guy who understands where I want to go with it." So he said, "Well, send me the tracks, because basically what I do, how I work normally, I do my pre-production first, then I write the lyrics, I record everything here in my house. So it's a demo. And then I'm trying to find a producer, obviously, who's professional and know how to bring the production to another level. Because I'm just autodidact. I mean, I don't consider myself a producer yet. I know how to shape, the entire song, but then obviously I might not have the tools or the experience to bring to another level. So that's how basically we met with Roy. So he enjoyed actually what I sent him, and then he was like, okay, cool, let's take it from here. And yeah, and we did, I think it was 5 songs or 6 songs. So 4 of them will be part of the next EP, who should maybe come out this summer. To be honest with you, I don't know. It's still on hold. But I mean, the demos are there. Everything is recorded. So yeah.
So what should people expect when they hear that, when it finally is released, in the sense of a mood and a vibe and things like that?
Mood and vibe. Well, there are definitely lots of influences. I think people will definitely hear my influences, which is, I don't know, artists such as Seal, Maxwell, Prince, Sade, but like in a male avant-gardist version, with some electronic, yeah, textures, some cool sound design behind it.
I
Mm,
I definitely hear the Sade influence into it. It's very smooth. It's not, but it's not smooth as the object. It's not the point of it. So, I like that. It's kind of like a side chain smooth, and I kind of dig that groove and that vibe a lot actually. Um,
mm,
so I've seen a couple of sessions that you had done on YouTube,
mm.
where it was like live. You had a guitarist and things like that. I think it was only a clip though. Um,
Yeah, it was just like, we were just hanging here at home with a with a band, and we just like, okay, let's just like jam.
that world, I miss that world very much. I've been involved in producing for a while now, so I don't have time a lot of times for that world again, but I miss that. I miss that gel world where you
Mm.
you just sit down and gel and put something together like
Tell
that.
me about it. If I could just do that, 7 days a week.
Right? It'd be awesome. I would love to do that too. Yeah, I I think I'm going to be going to return to organic music very soon too. Back to that, my roots as well with that kind of stuff, and from my 2 hands instead of from my brain. So yeah, I are you having any plans on performing, touring, all that good stuff anytime soon?
Well, at the moment, I'm rehearsing with a band, for a gig on the 26th of May, so at the end of the month. So we're just gonna share the stage with 6 other bands. So it's just like an introduction, really. I think it's gonna be a 20-minute set each, with a promoter that I know. So it's gonna be cool in a nice area in London.
That sounds fun. Very fun.
Yeah. And
Those
I've got 3 other shows lined up in June. One which is acoustic, which is cool because I'm always trying to find that balance where I want to keep that organic, like real instrument, raw vocals, guitar, and maybe a percussion, whatever it is, and then also have the full band. But I always wanted to try to keep that balance, not to always overproduce stuff because, nowadays I feel like even though there are lots of music out there that I like, and I like the electronic music because you can find some electronic music in my own stuff too. I grew up, as I said before, surrounded with some jazz musician, and I'm from also another generation at the same time.
right.
So you know, uh, my idea of the entire project also when I met Roy was like, I don't want to go full electronic. I want to fuse the acoustic and the electronic. I mean, that's the way I always, thought about my project since I started, and that's just the way it has to go. And don't get me wrong, again, I love electronic because I do collaborate with lots of deep house, Italian DJs, French DJs. So it's nothing against electronic music again, but for me, for what I'm writing and the vibe that I have around this music, it has to balance, organic and then let's say more modern stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, deep house does lend to a little bit of an organic quality. I mean, if you
Mm,
especially for a vocalist, you do at least get to still express yourself in that way.
definitely. Yeah.
I like that about deep house. You definitely can't do that with EDM or big room EDM or anything like that. You definitely can't. But with deep house, man, you really can still show your soul in that music. It's so minimal.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love it. I still do. I've been going through a weird period where I've not been listening to very much electronic music, and which is strange because I'm still producing electronic music, but it's for me it's been a weird return back to organic music, I guess you could say, a weird return back to
Mm,
handmade music, and yeah, the only thing I do listen to still is deep house if I'm in the mood, and that's really cool. I think you have a nice product, actually, a very nice product, and
thank you.
I think you have a great chance. Let's put it that way to do something with it. Um, so I have a question, sort of a question, I guess. So we live in a post Prince society now. we live in a post Prince
Yes.
world. That's very strange to say. I never thought
Mm.
I would say that now in my lifetime. I thought I'd be pretty old when 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 that would happen, pretty much. So, do you think that's going to influence your music in the next year or so, or something like that? More so, because you said Prince was an influence, but
Uh, well, he always influenced my music, to be honest with you. You know, unconsciously or not, it has always influenced my music. So probably it will still influence my music. You know, like other artists that that I love. So nothing really had changed for me in a way. Well, just the fact that obviously, we lost an amazing, multi-talented musician, singer-songwriter.
oh yeah,
So
the, it's. I don't think you can really describe what you really lost with Prince. It's
mm,
it's so hard to explain. You didn't lose a funk musician. You didn't lose a pop musician. You know what I mean? You didn't lose that. You lost a prolific musician. And
definitely.
you didn't just lose a prolific musician, you lost someone who had musicianship, who had a deep skill of musicianship. And I, uh, I've always thought that I was always the defender of Prince in the guitar worlds.
Mm,
Because believe it or not, and it sounds pretty crazy, but the guitar world's a malformed world anyways. It's a world no one wants to be a part of, and meaning the guitar scene, I guess you could say. And in that world, you do have people who appreciate Prince. It's not like that, but you always have this kind of core of people who, I guess they would go more towards kind of Jimi Hendrix type of stuff, and that's
mhm,
that's where it all stops. And I don't know. I was always a big defender of Prince's guitar playing because it was amazing, and I liked the fact that he didn't have an ego about it. That was something I really appreciated about him. He didn't have an
mm,
ego about that at all. He could rip it if he wanted to. He could just let it go, and he'd go crazy. But he knew how to control it, and that was something to me that was profound when I discovered that about Prince, and I was like, you know what, he's actually showing a high level of guitar musicianship, a very high level. That's a
yeah,
sign, a mark of a great guitarist is someone that's control. That's so hard to do.
yeah. And the funny thing is, the media's also, always really focus on the persona, the Prince persona, rather than actually, as you said, for example, he was an amazing, guitar player. I mean, and but somehow, yeah, when they were talking about his music, it was more about, him as a, as I said again, has a persona really, rather than, he's an amazing guitar player or he's, I don't know, he wrote so many hits for other artists, just to go a bit, to dig a little bit deeper into this artist. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah.
Yeah, when he played, it was like a lecture, to be quite honest. I mean, for
Yeah.
someone like me, who is a lifetime student of music from around the world, when I
Mm,
listen to him, uh, not just guitar, but when we are talking about guitar, He put on a lecture. It was a lecture of various, it wasn't just styles. It's like, look at me, I'm doing funk now. Oh, look at me, I'm doing blues now. No, it wasn't like that for him. It was like, I'm doing this solo, and for the most part, it's going to be this. But as I'm doing it, I'm going to show you what authentic funk sounds like. And I'm going to show you these real insider techniques that only real session guys know how to do.
Yeah,
And it wasn't just his technique, it was his tone, everything. He had absolute control over it.
yeah,
And I love that. I love it when anyone can do that, actually. When anyone can kind of, it's a high, to me, it's a mark of a high level that you
yeah,
can do that. Your production is taking a back seat to the skill, and the skill takes over. And I love
yeah.
that. I love that so much. You don't see that very often anymore.
Mm.
I think the
I
only
mean, he put his own signature, you know. I mean, when you hear Prince, you know it's Prince. To be honest with you,
exactly,
obviously
exactly.
there are other artists with their own signature. When you hear them, you're like, oh yeah, yeah, I know exactly who it is. You know,
He
they
was
are
the
not
next.
like millions, but yeah,
He was the next progression from that. From kind of a school. I don't know if you call it a school, but he was the next progression of this guy who goes into a studio and does everything. he was he was the next progression of something like Stevie Wonder, who did
exactly.
that, who
Yeah,
go into a studio and be like, well, I'm going to be spending the night here for 3 days, and everything I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be playing drums, I'm going to be doing all this, and this is what I'm going to do. And he was the next guy who did that. Unfortunately, I don't know what the next guy is going to be for that. I don't think there is another one. That's the real
well, you
tragedy.
never know. You know, you might be surprised by the talented musician artists, whatever you want to call them, in the underground scene. I've always been amazed as I love to go to, jam session and odd places and whatever it is, where you just meet these amazing musicians or artists and you're like, but what are you doing apart of, jamming during the weekend or whatever? I mean, there are some very talented people out there. It's just a shame that, I don't know, we always hear basically the same bloody music, on radios or on TV or whatever it is. We always have those 10 artists, which I don't mind, but would be great to have more diversity. Because as I said, I mean, out there are some amazing people. So maybe actually, obviously, we will never be able to replace a Michael Jackson or a Prince or whatever. But maybe we do have, people out there that could balance it too. You don't know. You don't know.
I have faith, but I have
Yeah,
no
me too, to
proof.
be honest. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have no proof though. it's all it's just faith based for me right now. If
It will come.
if I was as handsome as Prince, maybe I could have done it myself.
Okay.
That's kind of how I feel about that. I I always love multi instrumentalists because that's exactly what I am, and I I'm one of those people that are not afraid to say that I play at a high level at a lot of instruments, and it's not an ego thing. It's not. It's an earned thing for me. It's a
Mm,
lifetime pursuit for me, I guess you could
mm,
say. And I love that. I love having that because the music has a completely different attitude and a different direction when you have someone that has mastered all of those pathways.
yeah.
They know what should be brought back, what should be put to the side, what should be put to the front. And
Mm,
man, I love that. I miss that. It's what the other thing I miss though is the record producer. There's none of that anymore either.
yeah.
That really is sad. I miss the days of the record producer. Now we have producers, but we've kind of changed the name. We've changed what that term means now.
Exactly. Yeah. I tend to get a bit, lost with all this, producer and what the heck. Yeah, the meanings have changed, to be honest with you. Yeah.
We have this kind of fast fashion type of thing with it now. It's everything's so fast, everything's so instant,
Yeah.
and the terms lose their weight because of that. I think when we say producer, really you could make beats and not even put music to it, and now you're a producer.
Yeah.
it's it's strange. You're not a beat maker. Now you're a producer.
True.
And I don't know. I like, to me, when I think of producer, I think of like a general. I think of like a general of an army. And then that guy worked his way up the ranks. He knows all of the different various aspects of that military, and he can now lead it
Mm.
and knows everything about it. That is a era gone by. There are still people like that, yes, but it is an era gone by, and I
Yeah, I was
really
going
miss
to
it.
say, I mean, there are people out there that are still like that. You know, for example, my previous EP that just came out 2 months ago, um, you know, the guy actually who mixed it and mastered it, he didn't just do that. He was just supposed to mix and master it, but he ended up actually, um, recording some guitars and some live drums on top of it and some organ and stuff like that. At that time, I was in Paris, but I came to London during the weekend just to go actually in the studio to record all the vocals and just to finish the tracks with him. And I was amazed because I had to re-record the entire vocals in one afternoon of those 4 or 5 tracks. And I mean, the guy obviously is around 60 years old, and he used to produce and uh, people like Led Zeppelin, and then you know Elton John and Oasis and all these people. So when actually that was an amazing experience, and probably until now one of my best experiences, to sit down in a studio with a guy who's been touring around the world with Elton John for years and recording with all these people, and you're just there as a young independent artist, like, oh my god, I have to record all these tracks in one afternoon. Actually everything went smooth. I was like, he knows how to deal with artists. He just put me at ease. He wanted to know about me, and we had this tea, and then eventually we moved to the studio. But by the time we went in the studio, I was so comfortable.
Now that's a record
Everything
producer.
went like, wow.
Yeah, that's a
So
record
there are
producer.
still people like that, but that's another generation. you know?
It is, and you're right about the expectation being very quick and very everything. The expectation of the artist is a lot, and it's a skill to transfer that to them in a way that they can understand.
Yeah.
And that's yeah, that is a record producer. What you just described is
Yeah, and I
is
like the
exactly
fact
that.
that when I went there, he was just supposed to mix them, but just he came with so much creativity, and he was like, "Well, Adama, I was thinking, if we add this on this track, it will make it much better. The hook here, blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Oh my god, yeah, 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 just go for it." And he was grabbing the guitar and then the drums and this and that. I was like, "Yeah, this is a producer. You can mix, you can master, you can play the instruments, you can." Yeah, you understand, you write. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how I like to work.
music should be the product of a few people. It should always
Mm,
be that way. It should always be at the artist at the helm,
yeah,
steering the ship, but it should always have other people working on the sales and everything else, and they all should be very competent. And man, I do miss that. It's awesome that you're able to do that, though. It's awesome that you're able to still benefit from
yeah.
that. So what about you? Are you as a musician, are you a guitarist, or are you just a vocalist, or what do you do?
Well, that's a good question. No, I'm not a guitar. I'm not a musician. Like, I don't play instrument. Basically, I tried. I had some piano lessons when I was a kid. Then I stopped. Don't ask me why, because I don't even know. I stopped, and then and then when I was 19, this friend of mine booked me this guitar for my birthday, and I started some guitar lessons, jazz, guitar lessons. But I didn't enjoy it because I had this teacher who was more into scoring, scoring, scoring. And after 6 months, I was still there. I was like, okay, I cannot even bloody play a song or something, even half of a song. So I got really frustrated because I was like, I'm not a kid anymore. I don't absorb the same way a kid will. So if you just go like, scoring, 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 I get completely frustrated because I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go and sing and write some songs. And I don't necessarily care to play an instrument. So basically, I stopped. Then I took other lessons when I moved to London, and then I stopped again. So I just realized basically that today I do my own pre-production because I managed to know a few chords here and there. Same with my synth, so I can manage basically to to make a song, but I would never tell someone, yes, I'm a musician, because I don't think you're gonna see me anytime soon playing the keyboard on a stage or the guitar. That might happen, because it's not that I cannot play at all, but I rather say to people, I'm just a singer-songwriter for now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'll say it. You are a musician.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
are.
yeah, I guess,
You
yeah.
are. I'll say it. I will dub thee a musician.
Yeah, but I have so much respect when I see, musicians playing and all the effort and the discipline that they put, in it. So for me to, yeah, I'm a musician. Let's say, okay, I'm a musician, but I just consider myself more as a vocalist singer and then someone who writes songs, and
Yeah.
who's actually trying to develop his, production skills, because I think I've got them, but I won't pretend right now to be a producer or whatever.
So you came
Yeah.
across the notorious mathematician jazz teacher. Like, I've
Exactly. Yeah.
I I teach guitar on the side, and I teach a few instruments on the side, but I teach guitar. I teach a more diverse array of styles on guitar. And when I have people that want to learn jazz,
Mhm.
I've through experience learned that there's two types of people that want to learn jazz. So there has to be two types of ways to teach it. And you
Mhm.
have one person that wants to learn standards. They want to learn standards, how to comp, how to improvise over these standards. They want to learn history, all this other stuff. They want to learn how to read and write music. And then you have people that want the flavor of jazz, and they
Mm.
want to learn how to infuse that into what they're doing already.
Yeah.
And it's very important to be able to teach both ways. It very much is, because if not, you get that. That's exactly what you get. You get these type of people that are like, that's not right. that's that's not right. Redo it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Homework. Do this homework. Come back, or don't waste my time.
I
That
mean,
attitude.
sometimes I do go online, you've got some, I mean, nowadays, if you go online, you can find also some, some teach lessons online or whatever. So sometimes I do, because I'm trying to get better with a keyboard, because also as a songwriter, I feel more comfortable with the keyboard. You see, weird enough, even though my guitar is still there, sitting there. But yeah, I feel more comfortable with the keyboard.
Well,
So yeah.
it is a songwriter's instrument. I mean, it really
Mm,
is. The keyboard is. All the notes are laid right there in front of you, and there's something about seeing all that and seeing how they relate to each other and how they interplay.
yeah,
It
yeah.
really is. The guitar is like a hidden treasure. You have to go treasure hunting for
Mm,
notes,
mm,
and you
yeah.
have to go find them. There's something visceral about playing the guitar that you have to do with the keyboard. It's a completely different experience, when you, especially when you get somewhere with it, it's a whole nother experience than that.
Mm.
Talking about, you had a producer that went with Elton John. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is actually.
Oh,
That was a really cool surprise from this friend of mine. He knew, I mean, this friend from Paris knew I was struggling to find the right sound engineer, and uh, and he knew also that I wanted to move from Paris. So I don't know how he got to know Stuart Epps, which is this producer. But anyway, he put me in touch with him, and then things moved very fast. In a week time, I was here in London during the weekend to finish the EP. So yeah. Then from there also there was some interest, because Elton John heard the EP and his manager too, and his manager loved the single "My Lover." But then few weeks after, Elton John was releasing his album, so I don't know. you know, he's been, he started to tour and da, 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 and then at the end, well, all that interest, went maybe down the drain, or I don't know. But anyhow, I keep on moving forward. I do my things, and then whatever happens, happens. I don't want to put any pressure. I never really put any pressure on myself, like, oh my God, I need to have a big label, and I need to have this, and I need to have that. I want to make sure first what I do is right and I feel right about it. And then eventually, I'm quite old school. Then my idea will be, once your product it's there, the package, and you feel everything is right, you go with your band, you go live, you go out there, you know, you test, the product with the people, the public, because at the end of the day, if it's good, those people will be the one who will buy your product. And I think where everything starts to roll on that side, eventually, I mean, I don't know, someone might, might get interested and get in touch with the artist. I don't know, really.
Yeah, how good was Elton John in the 70s and 80s? How good was he? How good was the duo between him and Bernie Taupin? Was it Bernie Taupin? Yeah, it was Bernie Taupin, the lyricist. Phew, God,
Mm.
to this day, there's not very many people that I can continuously listen to a catalog to and still feel fresh.
Yeah.
But Elton John, I can. You know, I can listen to like Daniel or oh shit, how about Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters? That's or Mad Hatters and Mona Lisa's. Oh God, I don't remember anymore.
I
But
remember I used to like Elton John actually when I was young because my mom had all the vinyls, and I remember all these very funky, weird covers, and I was like, "Mom, who is he? I mean, who's this persona?" I was very intrigued about the. And then obviously his music, he's also super talented, great songwriter, and I was like, yeah, I mean,
I
back in those
love
days, yeah.
I love the flamboyant prodigy. That is something that's an archetype that I will always love. I'll never get enough of that. I'll never get enough of the flamboyant prodigy. There's
Mm,
something so baroque about it, and I love
definitely.
that. I love that aspect of things. It's this ego, but it's
Mm,
honest. It's an honest ego. It's
yeah,
like you're damn right. I'm good. And
definitely.
look at my fucking glasses. These are
Mhm.
huge. Say something about it. my my platform shoes are 4 inches high. Do you understand? I'm but I mean I love that. I there's something about that kind of flamboyancy that is so amazing. It's the same thing for David Bowie, I think. It was what attracted me to David Bowie in the first place was that too.
Mm,
I love competence and showiness mixed together. I love
yeah.
that. Love it so much.
Mhm.
I
When it
was
goes together, yeah, that's fine. When you start to just like, dress up and whatever, just to cover some a lack of,
oh
I don't
yeah.
know, talent, which is
Yeah,
very
that's
common today, then that's when it become a bit like, no, not sure.
it's dishonest to me. It becomes dishonest then. You didn't earn it. You didn't earn that
Mm,
that flamboyancy. You didn't earn it. You
yeah,
have to earn that. You have to do that. It's no different than like a championship boxer wearing like crazy trunks. You can't be wearing
mm,
that when you're losing. You
yeah.
can't be doing that. You can only do that when you're killing people. Like you
Yeah.
can't.
And also you have to be, you have to feel comfortable also because I mean David Bowie, that's just the way it was. Grace Jones, that's the way she is. Elton John, that's the way he is.
How
But
good was Grace Jones?
oh wow, I
Jesus.
know,
How underrated is Grace Jones?
I know.
That's a crime. That is a crime. I've never seen avant-garde done so well.
Yeah, totally.
So understandable, so accessible. Loved
Yeah.
it. And the artwork that went with that followed her. Jesus,
Mm,
that was such good. There is something about this kind of unspoken world that we don't really have a label for or a name for.
mm,
These artists were like, and God, how good was it? I just went on a Grace Jones rabbit hole probably about 3 days ago on
mm.
YouTube. And I was like, I got to keep doing this. And yeah, God, that's something that I would love to sit down and hang out with for like four
Oh, I
hours.
know. Yeah, same.
I love people like that though. I love people with these egos that are so freaking huge, but they have a point behind it. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. I would just I would sit there and talk to Grace Jones for hours if I could. And just be like, just talk. Tell me how you tick. Tell me
Let's
how does that
hang.
yeah, how does that work for you? How do you do that? But yeah, God. Yeah, definitely the singer-songwriter performer aspect of things is we're at a I don't think we're at a low of it in the sense of talent or accessibility. I just think we're at there's not very many honest ones out there like that. I like
Mm,
what you're doing. I think what you're doing is up that alley, and I think if you keep doing it, you're going to find who you are.
mm,
I think,
mm,
and I really think you're close to that. I feel like you're close to that. When I listen to people, I'm always listening to people like a producer. So I'm always looking at them as a product and seeing how close to their soul are they, and how
mm.
close to what they're trying to do in their minds are they, and how well are they conveying that idea. it's just a habit of mine. I can't stop it. It's a
Mm.
curse, really, because no more can I just sit there and groove. But to me, I feel like that about you. I feel that you were very close to coming to that realization, because you come through, like, you go through different tunnels of it. You go through different stages. You never go from one to bam, self-realization
No.
as an artist. But you do. I think you are just about to that fourth, fifth door. You know what I mean? You're
Mm.
about to go through and figure it out. I want you to keep it up, obviously, because you're just about there. I think you have, like I said before, I think you have a great product. I think you're really on to something. I like it. You
Thank you.
you have, to me, now you may disagree, I don't know, but to
Mm.
me, you have sort of a when I saw you sitting down jamming with a guitarist, I think there was a percussionist, I can't remember right now, but when I saw you jamming, you reminded me sort of a Jeff Buckley. You had kind of a vibe like that as well when I saw
Mm.
you singing. If you get to hear Jeff Buckley before,
I did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good reference. It's
you
cool.
you have a, I kind of felt like that. I was like, this guy is like, and of course, when I say that, I don't mean you were a faithful copy whatsoever.
Mm.
Um, that's not what I mean. I mean there's some kind of quiet confidence that you have, just like Jeff Buckley.
Mm.
And I really appreciate it. Jeff Buckley, by the way, is like one of my most favorite musicians ever. But
Mm.
he's up there with me too, with the people that we've talked about. And I really felt like that. And you kind of have this aura like that,
Mm.
very. You have kind of a fragility to your voice. To your presence, and I like that. I like that a lot. There's a real kind of fragileness to it, and it's an
Mm.
unbreakable fragileness, though. It's you know what I'm saying? It's like a
Yeah,
like
someone mentioned that actually. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I'm listening. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. And it's actually no, it might be right actually. Uh, I mean, I won't say that I never felt pressured by this industry in a way, you know. And I realized and I learned also through experiences that I had to let go and I had just to take all this process of me as an artist, just to take it as a spiritual journey because I also learned a lot about myself, you know, through the writing and recording and meeting other people and the way I behave with other people and also the way I express myself and how I want to, you know, to explain where I want to go with this project and what has to be, you know, finished and crafted and da 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 da. So so probably yeah, even myself when I looked at myself in the video in that you know acoustic session, I was like, oh, you're learning to relax and to be chill and to be more, you know, centered and to not stress yourself and think about what other people, you know, gonna think of you. You know, are you crap? Are you good? Because I'm actually quite crazy. Also, like I'm an overthinker. I'm always like, oh my god, am I good enough? Da, 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 da. No, no, no. You know. So yeah. So now I feel, to be honest with you, yeah, I feel more in peace with myself and I manage also to learn how to stop to just overthinking and just always, you know, uh, just stress myself about, you know, what people gonna say, you know,
exactly
because that wasn't helping, obviously. You
what
know?
what you're mentioning. What you're saying right now is exactly what I was saying when I said I think you are on the verge of discovering a truer sense of yourself as a
Mm,
musician.
yeah,
Just by hearing you say that, I'm right.
yeah,
I know
no,
that.
totally, yeah.
So
So you're just confirming it, yeah.
what tell me, so what are you into these days? What is some other stuff that you're into, some of the stuff that you're doing? What's holding your fascination these days?
These days, I'm gonna say, okay, boring. No, well, at the moment, well, as I said, I'm rehearsing a lot with a band, and but then I'm listening to some, you know, discovering some new music out there. Still working, you know, with my model agencies. On the side, I'm keep on writing and working on some new material. Uh, I'm getting in touch with a lot of photographers, video makers. I love to get in touch with people like on the net because I've got my ideas, for example, for each song that I write. Because normally when I write, I visualize the video clip already somehow. I don't know, I've got the story going. So that's why I like to be out there on the net and just to, to just to hook up with, I don't know, video makers, photographers, so we can try things out. And it helps me also to figure out more, you know, uh, visually if, that could work or it was just like a bloody idea or a fantasy that I had. So I'm doing a bit of all of that really, obviously working on my music, hooking up with new people on the net, doing some collaborations. And it's all part actually of just crafting and molding, even more this project. Yeah.
I will not keep this a secret. I have
Mm.
been campaigning to Ransford for a while to to let me help on production of your stuff. I have I have ever since I saw your teaser. You had like a little trailer on YouTube that I got to see,
Was it that
and
video, black and white video? No, the trailer.
you were narrating it. You were speaking very gently, and you were narrating it. Um,
Okay.
I think yeah, that was you were talking throughout the whole thing.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry. Okay, I forgot about it. Yeah. I should.
Ever since then, I was like, "Damn, this guy is real. This guy's a real product. I mean, this guy's kind of like he brings something. He brings a je ne sais quoi to something, and I really like that. I love that because that kind of thing always stays on the top layer of things.
Mm,
When no matter what you do, as long as you know what you're doing, as long as you're a competent producer and you don't try to overtake something,
mm, mm,
it's a joy to work with that because that's always going to shine through.
yeah.
And I love that. I love that a lot. I've made it no secret that I've campaigned for that. I'm like, yeah, if you ever need any help at all, I will, let me in on that because I'm working with him with another artist actually right now doing some more deep housey type of stuff, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Um, and of course, I did a couple of remixes for him. That's how we actually met, was doing remixes for the Office Girls. And then after that, because when he met me, I was doing something crazy. I was doing some retro electronic dance music thing
Okay.
and trying to
Why not?
brand it. Do what? I'm
I
sorry.
said, why not?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I go through weird phases where I'm just like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm doing this. And so and that was something I was doing at the time, and that's actually how we met. I was trying to use like various traditions from retro electronic dance or retro dance music from like the 80s and stuff, and not trying to make like cartoon music or action music like kind of from the synthwave world, I guess you can say, but rather trying to make real accessible dance music that could be played right now, but was using the nuances and instruments and things like that of the 80s, as you could say.
The
And
80s. Yeah.
that's how we got together. I did a couple of remixes from that standpoint, and then from there I started working with another UK-based vocalist with him. I think her name is Kirst. I think that's how you pronounce her name.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we're on the second song with that. And yeah, when I it's so weird how you meet people on the internet anymore. It's so
Yeah.
it's so crazy. It's so weird how you teach someone guitar, you teach someone an instrument, and then like once you're done with the lesson, you go right back into producing and talking to someone in another continent.
Yeah.
It's so
I
weird.
mean, it took me a while to get into the whole internet thing, to be honest with you, because I was like, you know, I wasn't used to just contact people over the internet randomly and going like, oh, blah, 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 you know? But eventually, no, I mean, it works. It works, Obviously, thanks God, internet is not all negative, There are some amazing tools out there. You just need to, need to be able to know how to use them, basically,
Yeah,
on your favor and not against you.
it seems superficial at first, doesn't it? I mean, at first you're just like, well, there's nothing. This is not going to go anywhere. You know what? When you think about talking to people on the internet first, you're just like, well, I mean, how far can this really go? it's just
Yeah.
it's just internet. This is all it is. But it's weird because I think we finally hit the age where it is. I mean, the internet has been significant for quite a while, but
Mm-mm.
that human side of it has finally become significant now, and it's
Yeah.
starting to become the default method of communication.
True.
And I think it's fascinating now because now something can happen new. You can now make new things, genuinely new things.
Mm.
I feel that
Can you
way.
hear me properly?
Oh yeah,
There's some noise out there.
the the screeching is very very low. it's not it's not that loud at all.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yeah. So now you essentially bounce then between UK and France. Is there anywhere else where else you bounce between these days now too?
Well, I've got family in Paris, in Senegal, and in Italy. Yeah. So, yeah. So these are the main cities where I normally go, to visit. I don't know, my mom who's in Italy, my dad and older brother in Senegal, and my little brother is in Paris. So, yeah.
It's awesome. And it's so so cool. Yeah, I envy your global uh covering. If I mean the whole reason why I'm in the in any kind of music game that I'm in now is just to see the world actually.
Hmm.
Um to me, like I always felt like a world citizen, I guess you could say. I've always wanted to be a world citizen. So yeah. Um anyways, moving on to your performing your EP that you had put out 2 months ago. Now you're polishing it up, right? You're putting it through the studio process and everything. And when do you think? I know you're in the process of it, but when do you think that will be wrapped up and ready to go?
Well, I spoke with Roy. I think it was last week, and he told me that we'll probably get back on the EP in June, which will be next month. So, I mean, I want to believe that we'll probably have the EP ready by. Actually, you know what? I won't say this summer. I think it's going to be more towards September, October.
Mhm.
Yeah, probably.
That's
If everything goes well.
that's one hard working man. Is
Yeah. Because I mean,
he's
as I said, the tracks are there already. I mean, they're there. They just need to be mixed and mastered at the end.
Mhm.
Even though, as I've got my band at the moment, we were thinking maybe to add more acoustic into the tracks. Just to add a bit more details here and there before starting to mix everything. So I think it was a good thing to put it on hold for a while to let me go, to do the song and just to practice them live first, because it might actually bring some new, fresh ideas to add into what we have already. You know.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because also, to be honest with you, I prefer to be, on stage and actually being locked into the studio, because the entire vibe is different. I love to be on stage, even though I'm quite of a shy person, but when I'm on stage I just have someone completely different, Adama, obviously. you know and you get all this energy from the people. So I don't know, but when I'm in the studio, like probably lots of artists, it's just it's more effort. In a way, you really have to channel everything and just try to draw that energy from I don't know what, but anyhow. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a definite pressure when you're
Yeah.
amongst artists and only artists because you all speak the same language.
Mm,
It's the Superman syndrome when you're on stage. You're from
exactly.
a planet where people just like you, and
Yeah.
amongst them, and you're just you. But
Mm,
once you come back to Earth on stage, you're Superman, and things
exactly.
you
Yeah.
do are amazing. To people,
Yeah.
people love it, and to me, that's
Mm,
the beautiful part of performing. God, I love that so much. Is the entertainment aspect of it. The
mm,
entertaining
mm, mm.
people
Yeah.
love that part of it, and people are so ready to be entertained. That's such a pure thing. And that, no matter what happens with music in the internet age and the record labels, all the music industry, I guess you could say, no matter what's going to happen, that is always going to be there. That
Mm,
demand, that's always going to
yeah,
be
yeah.
there.
I mean, yeah, so as I said, probably, yeah, September, October, because the thing is also, as I was saying with Roy, we were discussing about, okay, you might have a hot product, but I mean, you need to spend as much, energy and effort also to figure out how you're going to market this product, because that's
Yeah.
another story. I mean, you spend lots of time and everything to just, record, but then what? Then when you have the product, you might be, one of the best artists out there or whatever. But if no one knows you and you don't have the tools or whatever to get it out there and to go to the right people, well, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a whole nother game.
That's another game.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's another game. That's why actually I just kind of stopped to say, okay, it's gonna come out on this specific date, whatever, because it never happens. So, but it will definitely come out, yeah, by I would say,
Un-
yeah, to October. Mm. The idea will
Unfortunately,
be also to shoot a video for at least the single, you see?
unfortunately, you'll have to do the AM circuit of of radio and shows and things like that. And you're going to have
Exactly. But I mean,
people.
the good thing is we are very confident about, about what we have. So that's good. I mean, the energy, the good, the positive energy is on it. So yeah, I don't see why actually. Yeah, you're
Yeah, I
gonna
mean,
attract, some.
well, I mean, you not just were, you are a
Mm,
model. So I mean, you have the aesthetic quality already for a camera. So
mm,
you have half of the work done for you, really, and that's very cool that you can do that.
yeah.
Um, because when you start doing that circuit, that's really going to help out a lot. And then after that, then you're just going to have to trudge through the dumbasses. You have to trudge through, you have to trudge through the well, now tell me about this. Well,
Yeah,
if you come to the States, you will. I don't I don't know
yeah.
what it's like in Europe, but in the States, you're going to have to deal with that. Are you going to want to come to the States and perform anytime?
I would love to. I would love to because I love the States. I mean, I don't actually love the States. I've been to New York and Los Angeles, so I don't know much about the entire states. But the vibe that I got to go when I was in New York, well, because each state is different. You know what I'm saying? So I
It's
can't
a bit, yeah.
really say I love the United States. I don't know. Actually, I know New York and Los Angeles, and I had an amazing time. I definitely want to play in the States. Yeah. And actually, I have more musicians friends, in LA and New York than I have here in London. To be honest with you.
There are a lot in both cities, but I think you get to see a good slice of things going to both coasts because both
Mm,
cities no one's really from. You know what I mean? I
mm,
mean, there are people from there, but no one really is. Everyone's from another state that
mm,
has moved there because they want to get into entertainment or they want to get into business or whatever it is. And
mm,
yeah, so you do get to see quite a wide array of Americans from
mm,
various places because it's strange. In America, we're kind of like a loose coalition of small nations.
yeah.
culturally culturally we all are. It's very strange. I live in the southeast part right now, and it is different, but there's a lot of people from the southeast that go to LA. There's a lot of people from the southeast that go to New York and things like that. So yeah, I mean, it is interesting how it is, but I think you probably have a good idea of the way things are here. I think so. I
Oh,
mean,
I do. Yeah. And
I
the
think
funny thing is, last week actually, I was chatting with a friend. I was like, "How odd is this?" I was like, "Most of my followers on all the social networks, Instagram, Twitter, and whatever, are all from the States. But I'm not doing anything actually to, which I don't mind, absolutely not. But it was very strange for me. I was like, okay, I just lived there for 2 years. I wasn't really playing over there, and I'm like, how come I've got all these fans from the States? What about here in Europe? So that's quite funny because people thought, you know what? I think for you, for the type of music that you're doing, we're not really sure about the States. I think it's going to work more in countries like Germany or whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. But for now, I'm like, well, all the fans and followers are actually from the States. So there
yeah,
you
I
go.
I
You
mean,
never know.
I can't agree with that. I think what you do is very palatable for
Mm,
Americans. Actually, I think so. America with music, Americans kind of get a bad rap. and it's not true.
Mm.
We really are into originality,
Yeah,
and that's really what we want, and we will tolerate a lot for originality. Like we'll listen to a lot of different things just to get
true.
something that's on the ground floor, that's something that's new or hot. We really are into that, and I think everyone listens to mainstream music at some point. I mean, everyone does, and
Of
everyone listens
course,
to,
yeah, I do.
yeah, exactly. And I think that is what it is. But I think Americans are very hungry for original content, very, very
Mm,
much. I think so.
yeah,
And the live show is still very big and alive here in the States. Huge
yeah,
here, actually. It's a very big deal. And I think, yeah, European, not just fans, but European industry
yeah.
people and things like that. They they like and are attracted to such a different vibe than Americans are. And you can see that with American artists that are here that get some traction, but then they get traction in Europe for completely different reasons. Like speaking of Jeff Buckley, that's one.
Yeah.
Jeff Buckley was hailed in New York, and was widely acclaimed. But then when he came to France, he was like a god.
Mm,
you know, I mean, he
true.
was hugely. It was a different thing, and it was for different reasons.
Mm,
But I really do think that you could have a future in the States. To be quite honest, I really
mm,
do. You have a vibe. You have a persona. You have a lot of things that I think a lot of Americans would dig. Actually, I mean,
mm.
it's my opinion, but I am an American.
Are
So
you?
I'm actually a German spy. When it is time, I will ping back. But no, I think so. I really do. I think
Yeah.
um I think
I
Europe
mean, let's hope so. I mean, I wouldn't mind, to be honest with you.
I think Europeans are a little more critical. I think they're
Maybe
a
that
little
could
more
be
critical.
actually. Well, who knows? Yeah.
In my
I mean, at the end
experience
of
of
the
it,
day, you cannot please everybody. So, I mean, if my music happened to work in the States or even in Japan, I mean, who cares? Okay, I'll be happy with it.
how
I don't need to please the entire world. So,
how cool would that be to be big in Japan? I've always wanted to be big in
yeah,
Japan. Always. I
why not? Who doesn't want to be big in Japan? Which artist? I mean,
I
they're
would love that.
amazing fans. When they follow you, they just like on it. And yeah,
It's true. They have such a fascinating culture of adoration. They
yeah,
really do. And when they get onto something, they get onto it. I mean, they just
exactly.
they eat it up. They eat it up.
Yeah.
They, in the 2000s, MMA was very big in Japan, and it
Mm,
was so big that they were packing stadiums that the second biggest place was America, where it was, and nowhere in America could pack the stadiums that Japan could.
mm,
Japan was putting hundreds of thousands of people in stadiums to watch fights, and the way they saw things was so different. It was so romantic, and that's what I love about Japanese fans and
mm.
the Japanese audience. They're so romantic. They
Yeah.
see poetry in everything. And I love that about them. They do. They can see a fighter whose face is smashed up, who
Mm.
looks like a Hulk, and they will find romance in that. They, I
Yeah.
love that so much. But
And
yeah,
also the idea at the end of the day, the idea is just, I mean, for me, is just, as I said, I cannot please everybody, but at the same time, also, I'm trying to just get to a point where music becomes my full-time job. When I will live out of my music. I won't need to do some extra work here and there from time to time, or just modeling or whatever. Because to be honest with you, I like modeling, but music is actually my priority. You know what I'm saying? So
yes,
let's
yes.
say you big in Asia. I mean, sorry, but who gives a fuck about Europe at the end of the day? I mean, no, but it's true, because a friend of mine asked me, what about if your music does sell a lot in Asia and maybe not in Europe? I'm like, who cares? You know, I'm doing it because I want to share my music with people, and I want my music to become my full-time job. End of the story. I don't care if it has to happen in Asia, in the States, in Europe. I just want to, put it out there, people to enjoy it, and end of the story, and live out of that. The end. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna be picky, going like, well, but I will prefer no.
You just
You know,
need 1,000 true fans, and
exactly.
you can financially be stable as a musician or as an artist, period, in anything. You just need 1,000 of them. That's it. I mean, you need a lot more people to listen, but out of that, you just have to cull 1,000 people from there who really will support you. And that's all you need. And that's bam. So yeah, as wide as you can get the audience, that's what you want, because you just need 1,000 of those people, no matter where they're from. And you're you're stable. You know, you're supported. Yeah, I think that's the coolest thing about right now. I think everyone kind of pans the music industry right now, and I don't know. I don't know if it's completely fair. I think there are examples where it's true, but I think it's not completely fair. I think one of the things that no one really talks about is how independent musicians now can really eke out a living, and they can do this as long as they know how to market themselves to the globe, and because it's a wider audience now. You know,
Yeah.
it's I have a small, very small label, and where I sell some cassette tapes and things like that. And really, I couldn't do that in just America. Like,
Mm.
I
Yeah.
couldn't have done that just here and gone distributed it to a store and do this and that. I couldn't, you know, without the globe, I wouldn't have had all that, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think that's so cool. And I don't think it's been completely explored yet. I don't think the possibilities have been yet.
No.
So you do you still model, so you're doing photo shoots and stuff, or are you doing like runway, or like how does that work for you now?
Well, normally I do both, but recently, no, I haven't been booked for any shows. I was kind of pre-selected. I think it was, when was that? The Fashion Week in New York, about 2 months ago.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was shortlisted for the Kanye West Kanye West show. Thanks God I
Wow.
wasn't selected at the end, because to be honest with you, I'm like, not really. I know you're just a model, so you have nothing to say. Just walk down the runway. But when they told me, well, okay, basically you haven't been selected, I was like, okay, that's cool with me, because I was more excited actually to go to New York to see my friends rather than actually go for the Kanye West show.
Right.
You see, because I'm not a big fan of his, yeah, whatever.
He has a very dystopian look to things right now. He has a very kind of dystopian aesthetic. You know, it's almost like Shakespeare cyberpunk. It's it's
I mean,
very
it's not that I dislike it, to be honest with you, but at the same time, all that media coverage around that, I'm like, no, sorry, So I'm not actually, I don't dislike, I might actually wear maybe one of his shirt with some holes on it or whatever it is. So I have nothing against that. But all that media coverage about something that for me is not like, wow, wow, we're not talking about haute couture here.
right.
So yeah, I mean, good on him, but I'm not a big fan, to be honest with you.
I
Yeah,
I was never a big Kanye hater. I'm not saying you are. I never really was. I don't listen to Kanye anymore though. Like in any of the new stuff. It didn't speak to me. I don't hate it. I don't dislike it. But I think I guess I miss the old Kanye. You know, that's just
well, that's the thing, actually. Actually, yeah, absolutely not a hater of Kanye West. No, because actually, I met him while working as a host in a restaurant years ago. And I don't know what he asked me. I can't remember, but he was a really cool guy, even though that chat lasted a few seconds only. Me, I was working, he was a guest. But that was the Kanye back in the days. I wasn't even listening to his music, but it wasn't. Um, People were not, even the medias were not talking so much about him. So he was more cool. Maybe now, I don't know. I really don't know what happened in between. But today, Kanye, I'm a bit like, well, no, I'm not necessarily interested. Really, no.
I have no
Yeah.
clue if I'm right or not because I don't really know him personally, but I
Mm.
suspect that he's probably the same guy. He's a button pusher right now, and that gives him a lot of press. And I think it's
Maybe, yeah, there's something, but yeah, I was more actually keen to know the Kanye West that I met, you know, quickly, like years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I don't know. Yeah, because he wasn't even with his wife. So yeah, I mean, that person, yeah, was cool, chill. His music was cool also. He wasn't doing too much. He wasn't trying to become the next, I don't know, David Bowie or whatever it is with visuals and all that thingy. And for me, he was cool, he was, yeah. Today, it's a bit, it's a lot about him as a celebrity and less about really what can you do, what's your talent here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll agree with that absolutely. There has been kind of a pop art side to it, kind of Warholian
Yeah,
side to him now that's come out. I think we're all living in the dream of Warhol right now. I think
yeah,
we all are. The media cult as it is. I think we're in a strange time. We're in a fascinating time, but we're in a strange time. And I think it's this the mainstream, the mainstreaming of Warhol's vision of culture and corporocracy. I guess you could say whatever. It. I think
yeah.
we are, and I think it's going to run its course eventually. But I think it's
Probably
like
it's
this.
good for his business. I mean, not probably. Yeah, it is good for his business to be out there and just be overexposed and just, good on him. But me, as an artist who used to follow him back in the days, and I appreciate him as an artist. Today, I'm really not interested because what I see is a big celebrity, and I don't know anymore about him as an artist. So
That's
I
true.
lost completely interest. But there are other artists like him, though, and it's such a shame because I don't know. I'm not at that level, so I can't. I don't know. Maybe one day I will be, and I hope not because I don't necessarily want to be at that level because I think you have no life anymore. But but there are lots of artists like him, like, suddenly the whole celebrity fame thing takes over, and then you're like, but where is the artist that I used to know?
No, I understand. You're saying the conversation ends. The conversation
Yeah,
between
exactly.
artist and audience, it ends, and that is an important aspect to keep to maintain that integrity of
Mm,
that. You want that because what will
totally.
happen is what's happening with Kanye, which is people hating on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I think it's indescribable to people. I think some people just feel a feeling and they react on it. And I think what it is just the conversation is ended and they feel snubbed.
yeah,
They
yeah,
feel like they've been kind of left behind.
totally, exactly. Yeah,
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 I think that's absolutely true. You know, that's why David Bowie changed himself. Well, I mean, he changed stuff all the time, but
yeah,
that's why he changed in the '80s, towards the end of the '80s, because he
true.
had felt himself going into that world, that
Yes,
celebrity world, and he was starting to become kind of, I guess you could say, Warholian. You know, he was becoming a
yeah,
product and only a product instead
yeah,
of himself selling a product that was still himself. And
yeah,
he even said that. And he was like, I got to get out of this. You know, I guess I can't do Let's Dance anymore, you know?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, it happens. It happens. Good on Bowie for figuring that out, though, at the time. He was
Mm,
genius, though. He was multi-level genius when it came to things like that. Very fascinating guy.
mm,
Huge idol for me too. Huge idol. Um,
definitely.
but yeah, so things are really looking up for you then. I mean, things are kind of the sky's the limit for you at this point. I'm really happy. This is a magical time. Really um, savor this because this is a magical time. You're at that point where conception is happening. You know, the forces are mingling together and the magic is happening right
Hopefully,
now.
hopefully. Well, I'm trying to keep, to keep it cool, keep the dynamic, just, yeah, without thinking too much, just do it.
That's the key. That is definitely the key. Thought is the enemy. To
Yeah,
me,
it
at
is.
least. I mean, that's my personal opinion. Thought is always going to be the enemy. It's
Yeah,
always going to be the inertia behind your momentum. You know, it'll
yeah.
slow you down. So yeah, good on you, man. I'm very excited to hear what you're going to be putting out. I'm very excited to see what you're going to be doing with it. I'm
Mm,
very excited to see who you will realize yourself to be eventually. um, Probably in the next year, more than likely. Especially once you start really performing. You know, That's what I can't wait to see is you performing and then what you're going to become with those
Mm.
experiences.
I can't
Because
wait myself to. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm quite excited about it. Yeah.
yes, it's very exciting. This is a magical moment when that happens. And man, I can't wait to see what you're going to come up with it.
Mm.
Um, it has been a pleasure to talk to you. Absolutely.
The
I
same.
would love to have you back here again anytime.
Definitely. Yeah.
I would love
With
to
a
maybe
pleasure.
have you up with Ransford. Maybe I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I would love to have you back on this podcast. And is there anything you want to plug or anything you want to mention, real quick?
So do I want to plug or mention? Well, I just want to mention that my previous EP is online on Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, or you can find it just straight to my website, adamaboudoir.com.
All right.
Yeah, so check it out. Uh-huh.
What is the name of the EP again?
The name of the EP is Empty Space.
Empty Space. So everyone, that is Adama,
Mm-hmm.
Empty Space, Adama. Check it out. Google it. Look it up.
Perfect.
And it has been an absolute pleasure. Again, everyone, we will see you back next Saturday or this Saturday when we talk to the synthwave giant Ghost. And it has been like I said before, I'll say it again. This has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks for having
And
me. A pleasure.
we will be back Saturday, everyone. Take it easy.